This is gonna be a video of 0 to 6 months bottle feeding that I have tried and that I don't recommend. The Dr. Brown standard 4-ounce blue vent system. Cons. One con. I don't know why that bothers me, but it has always bothered me when I go to wash them and the vent gets stuck. I also don't like these. Now, when I first got these, I wasn't informed. You don't microwave them. You do not boil the vents because apparently the vents shrink. I was told you really shouldn't be shaking the formula in the bottle, but I had no choice. I didn't have a pitcher at this time. I would go to feed him. I'd go to lift it up to burp him, and formula would just seep and leak out this part of the bottle. And whenever he was stuck on the nipple, it would make a weird clicking noise. I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was him or what. It would make a weird clicking noise. But after I found out you don't do that with these bottles, I stopped doing it completely, but they were shot by then. Like, they were ruined. I mean, they're not bad bottles. There's just way too much hype about them. We had to mix his formula. He had weight problems, so he was on an extra scoop of formula. We just used a 5-ounce bottle. He was on 3 scoops per 5 ounces. We filled it to 5 ounces and would just pour the formula into the bottles, like that way, and then have to wash the big bottle. But once he was out of 4 ounces and he was on 5, we were fine for a while. We used bottle warmers with these. We did not boil the parts, none of that. I only sterilized them the first use and then once a week. Well, I sterilized everything the first use and then the nipples was like once a week. I also don't like how these, you'll hold them and formula will just seep out. Like drip, 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 drip. Because the con that I'm about to talk to you about, we were at my sister's. I packed 2 5.5-ounce bottles. We put the bottles in the bottle bag. We had my diaper bag. And we just used these caps. My bottle bag must have tipped over at some point. And I go to pick up my bottle bag and diaper bag and everything is soaked. I look in these bottles and there is maybe 1/2 ounce left in these bottles. In both bottles, about 1/2 ounce. When I tell you, I was so angry. I was so angry because the formula he's on is not cheap. He has to be on elemental because he has a cow's milk protein intolerance. So I was pretty upset. So I'm guessing maybe like it seeped out of the cap, like it was just dripping and then it seeped out of the cap. I contacted Dr. Brown and because I also realized how he would have milk formula seeping out of the sides of his mouth. And they sent us the newborn nipples. I do recommend the newborn nipples instead of just going straight to the size 1 because the newborn nipples was so much better for him for a short period of time, but it worked very well. And I don't think they're sold in stores yet, so you would have to contact their customer service. But these leaked as well. After even like following all the steps and everything, I would still like hold it this way to burp him and formula would seep out this way. And it was a mess. It was a mess. It got all over me. It would get all over him and it was a mess. So after that, I contacted Dr. Brown about the leaking because I said, I don't boil these parts. I don't microwave the bottles. I follow every instruction possible of what not to do and what to do. I follow it all, but they still leak. So they asked me like, do you use the caps? And I was like, the ones that I threw away that come with the bottles because I didn't know you were supposed to keep those. And she was like, no, we actually have the caps that screw onto the bottle. Now I'll show you what I mean. This goes on the top instead of all this. You take the vent out and you just put this over the bottle. Simple and easy. Highly recommend these, especially if you have to shake the formula and mix it in the bottle. You're golden because these are wonderful. So I do recommend these. They're like almost like $3 on Amazon, and they're great. I love them. I have 3 of these ones, and I'm actually going to get into the other one here in just a second. Is the wide neck. He has one wide neck bottle, and I'm about to give my whole opinion on that as well, but recommend these. So then we have the option bottles. We have 2 option bottles. Now, the option bottles are a little bit different than the regular other bottles. This actually goes in there. Give me 1 second because my son just woke up. Dawson. Baby Dawson. So these also leak. You can use these without the vents, but I found when I use these without the vents, he collapses the nipple. So it's a lose-lose situation. Like, they leak still, the same thing around the rim, and you know, you use it with the vent, it leaks. You use it without the vent, it doesn't leak, but he collapses the nipple. Maybe it's just him, I don't know. But so then I told him all about the leaking. You know, I said I'm very highly disappointed. Like, I'm about to throw these bottles away. I was so frustrated. So frustrated, you have no idea. Like, I was ready to just buy a vent or some other bottle before I found out about the sippies I got him. And I'm sure their bottles are just as good, but I'm about to go over that in a little bit. So then they sent us samples. They sent us 2 bottles. They sent us this Options Plus. Okay, and then they sent us the wide neck. I love the wide neck. However, the wide neck, it looks different. It has a wider vent, obviously, but I don't recommend it. I mean, I do, but I don't. I recommend it because my son loved it. My son loved it. But those leak as well. Like, all the bottles leak. It doesn't matter if it's Options Plus, Options, or the regular standard Dr. Brown bottle. It doesn't matter. Like, they all leak. All of these bottles have leaked at some point. Even this one has leaked. And it's just gross when they leak. Like, it's frustrating because when you're feeding a baby formula and there's formula seeping out of this part and it just gets the whole bottle like oily, slippery feeling, it's frustrating because it gets all over your hands. It gets all over their hands. It was so frustrating dealing with these bottles. But, hi, how are you? Do recommend the Options Plus over the Options and the Standard. I love the Options Plus, but guaranteed they leak. Now, bottle brushes, we have 2 different ones. This is the first one I had, which I used with the tiny Dr. Brown bottles, the 4-ounce bottles. I like how the bristles are very easy to get the stuff that's stuck on the sides. And I also like this because I use this for the nipples, for getting the formula like that's stuck to on the top of the nipples, getting that out. So this was very convenient. However, the con of this was it was very hard to stick into the Dr. Brown bottles. Soap got everywhere. Soap got everywhere. I recommend this if you're using like actual Munchkin bottles, or if, you know, anything other than Dr. Brown, because even with these, you put this in there and it's like you can't eat, like the whole thing goes in the bottle. One we have is the Dr. Brown one, and I like this one because it has the sponge. The bristles are they're really soft, and I don't really like this part because it's not as, you know, detailed as the Munchkin one, whereas the Munchkin one has spikes all the way around it. Makes it very easy to get out the formula that's stuck. Something that has actually, this is like a must have for formula feeding, the Dr. Brown formula pitcher. I swear to you, this has been a lifesaver, especially because he's on a certain amount of calories. However, the con of it is you cannot fill it any higher than 30 ounces because it'll go everywhere if you do it any higher than that. The Pro It's very convenient. You have a full day's worth of formula made. You just pour it in the bottle, and if your baby needs it warmed up, you warm it up. If they can take cold bottles like my son could, you're set. The greatest thing that I could have bought for my son. Now, making the formula pitchers is a little bit annoying, and washing them is also very annoying. I like how, you know, it's very convenient. So we went to the WIC office, and she said, you know, have you started sippy cups yet? And I said, no, I didn't know I could start him on sippy cups. He's 6 months old. And she was like, how do you feel about, you know, starting? And I said, I would like to start him as soon as I can, because, you know, she said the sooner you start them on it, the easier it'll be to transition out. And we got the Nook. I love these sippy cups so much. It has handles so he can very easily hold it, and they're adjustable so that when you screw on the nipple and the cap, you can just easily you know, turn the handles and place it to where it's going to line up with the nipple, and they're very easy to clean. So that was my goal, was to get something that does not leak and is very super easy to clean. Now, I did originally say, you know what, I should just get the Dr. Brown nipple, sippy nipples, and the little handles. But then I was like, you know what, I have had so much trouble with Dr. Brown, and I'm not about to go through even more trouble. These were like, my boyfriend said these were like $5 for the 5 ounce. Now, we've been putting his formula in it and stuff, so we just got these ones the other day. These are the 10 ounce. No leaking. Absolutely no leaking. I love them. The handles actually come off. He really does prefer out of these and the bigger ones that you just saw over just buying a Dr. Brown sippy cup nipple and some handles and just giving it to him, because it's not the nipples that are the problem. It's the whole bottle itself. See, if you really want to get Dr. Brown, get the Options Plus. But if you're just kind of browsing and you don't know what brand of bottle you want yet, I would not recommend Dr. Brown's. They're a pain in the butt to clean, for one. And you got so many nicks and crannies you gotta clean, and it's a mess. But overall, the best Dr. Brown item that I would highly recommend if you're formula feeding is the pitcher. Because I raved about Dr. Brown for the longest time when he was really, really little, when I was still on these bottles, because they didn't start leaking until he was about 3 or 4 weeks old. I raved so hard. They start leaking and I take all of it back. And what's even great about these is you don't even need a cap because they don't leak. But I do put a cap on them anyway, just to protect the nipples, and especially in the fridge, or if we're going on a car ride somewhere, I do put the caps on. These are the best sippies, and I highly recommend these. Actually, the bigger sippies, you have to screw them on, and the handles come off. They're 10 ounce bottles or sippy cups, and it's just a very easy going purchase. I've had nothing but good things to say about these. And these are for 6 month plus, and the big ones are for 9 month plus, is what I saw. So I was wondering, like, is there a difference between the nipple size? No, there is no difference. The bottles are different sizes. This one for 6 month plus, the other one's for 9 month plus. And then I was thinking formula or breast milk is still their main source of nutrients. Different liquids for meals or something. I don't know. He will only take these, and I don't know why. So we're actually in the process of figuring out what to do with these bottles, because I have no idea what to do with these bottles. I think that is about it.